Our top story. Prime Minister Modi has spoken for 2 hours, 13 minutes and 30 seconds in Parliament today. He has set a record with the length of his speech, but he limited his mention of Manipur. The Prime Minister's primary focus was the opposition that came in for heavy fire. An upset opposition walked out in protest, saying that the Prime Minister was more interested in making a political speech attacking the opposition rather than speaking about a state that has now burnt for 3 months under his watch. There was debate, there was drama, there was also democracy at play. It was engaging, it was enlightening. As expected, the government, of course, has defeated the no-trust motion, but has it won the perception war? Has the 3-day debate achieved what it set out to achieve? We are talking about all of that in just a bit, but first, the highlights from today.
मैं मणिपुर के लोगों से भी आग्रहपूर्वक कहना चाहता हूं, वहां की माताओं, बहनों, बेटियों से कहना चाहता हूं, देश आपके साथ है, ये सदन आपके साथ है। हम सब मिलकर के, कोई यहां हो या ना हो, हम सब मिलकर के इस चुनौती का समाधान निकालेंगे। वहां फिर से शांति की स्थापना होगी। मैं मणिपुर के लोगों को विश्वास दिलाता हूं कि मणिपुर फिर विकास की राह पर तेज गति से आगे बढ़े, उसमें कोई प्रयासों में कोई कसर नहीं रहेगी। आदरणीय अध्यक्ष महोदय, यहाँ सदन में मां भारती के बारे में जो कहा गया है, उसने हर भारतीय की भावना को गहरी ठेस पहुंचाई। अध्यक्ष जी, पता नहीं मुझे क्या हो गया है, सत्ता के बिना ऐसा हाल किसी का हो जाता है। सत्ता सुख के बिना जी नहीं सकते, और क्या क्या भाषा बोल रहे हैं। आदरणीय अध्यक्ष जी, पता नहीं क्यों कुछ लोगों को भारत मां की मृत्यु की कामना करते नजर आ रहे हैं। इससे बड़ा दुर्भाग्य क्या है? ये वो लोग हैं जो कभी लोकतंत्र की हत्या की बात करते हैं, कभी संविधान की हत्या की बात करते हैं। दरअसल जो इनके मन में है, वही उनके कृतित्व में सामने आ जाता है। अधीर बाबू को क्या हाल हो गया? उनकी पार्टी ने उन्हें बोलने का मौका नहीं दिया। ये तो कल अमित भाई ने बहुत जिम्मेवारी के साथ कहा कि भाई अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है, और आपकी उदारता थी कि उनका समय समाप्त हो गया था, तो भी आपने उनको आज मौका दिया। लेकिन गुड़ का गोबर कैसे करना, उसमें ये माहिर है। मैं नहीं जानता हूं कि आखिर आपकी मजबूरी क्या है। क्यों अधीर बाबू को दरकिनार कर दिया गया? पता नहीं, कलकत्ता से कोई फोन आया हो। और कांग्रेस बार बार उनका अपमान करती है। कभी चुनावों के नाम पर उन्हें अस्थायी रूप से फ्लोर लीडर से हटा देते हैं। बिट्टू जी, हम अधीर बाबू के प्रति अपनी पूरी संवेदना व्यक्त करते हैं।
After that speech finished, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary was suspended from the Lok Sabha. The matter is now with the Privileges Committee. But that wasn't the only drama that played out. When the Prime Minister was speaking, and he had spoken for almost an hour and a half, the opposition started sloganeering Manipur, Manipur. They were upset that the Prime Minister has already spoken for so long and he has not mentioned Manipur. So that is what happened. It's on your screens. This is roughly 1.5 hours into the Prime Minister's speech. The opposition tried to get him to speak on Manipur. He didn't. So they staged a walkout. And ironically, as soon as they staged a walkout, the Prime Minister started speaking on Manipur. Listen in to what opposition MPs had to say.
My three questions remain unanswered. One, why hasn't the Prime Minister made any plans to go to Manipur? Two, why hasn't the Prime Minister made any concrete statement on Manipur? He's only spoken for 30 seconds so far. And three, why hasn't he asked his Chief Minister to resign? It is only arrogance which makes them blind to the pain of the people of Manipur. And that is what Rahul Gandhi ji alluded to yesterday. That this government has become blind with their arrogance. And that is why they don't see the two MPs of Manipur. They don't see the 60,000 people in camps. They don't see Manipur being divided into hill and valley. They only see power. And that is why their nationalism is a fake nationalism. They are not patriots. They are militants who are bent on dividing our country. Unfortunately, the Prime Minister has spoken for 2 hours. In these 2 hours, all he has done is twisted the name of our country, India.
Well, our no confidence motion was with the BRS party. So AIM had supported the BRS party, and we walked out with the BRS party. This has been the most disappointing speech ever made by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And he just reiterated what yesterday the Home Minister had said. We were expecting that he would say that complete justice would be done to the people or the victims of Manipur violence. It's an ethnic violence. Unfortunately, he did not speak on that. I was expecting that the Prime Minister would condemn what the Haryana government has done by demolishing 700 buildings, structures of particular community who happen to be Muslims. I was expecting the Prime Minister would give a healing touch to what the terrorists had done in the train by killing of a senior and killing 4 Muslims over there. But unfortunately, the Prime Minister has not spoken any substantive. He went on hammer and tongs as usual. What he has said in this August sounds very disappointing and a boring speech of a Prime Minister.
For a larger issue, today's PM's speech was historic, was inspirational, and the way he reached out to the people of Northeast by administering a balm, कि आप हमारे जिगर के टुकड़े हो, and the way he recalled all the reckless negligence given to Northeast sentiment by Nehruji, calling ki my heart goes for Assam. The way people of Mizoram were bombed, those things were required to be stated. I'm very happy. The young people of the country need to know. But the vision of India, of developed India, which Narendra Modi ji unfolded today, was truly inspiring.
Sir, but before PM could speak about Manipur, the entire opposition that has been demanding PM's reply on it for past so many days walked out of the house.
वो आरोप लगाते हैं, कभी पीएम को बोलने देते हैं क्या, उनका जवाब सुनते हैं क्या? तो उन्होंने अपनी आदत के मुताबिक काम किया, क्योंकि उनकी सारी कहानी झूठ पर रहती है और मोदी के खिलाफ नफरत पर रहती है। तो नहीं सुनना चाहिए था। आज मोदी जी ने देश को भी बताया, विकास को भी बताया, भारत से अपेक्षा क्या है वो भी बताया, और 40 मिनट बोले मणिपुर।
Let me go straight across to Samia, who's been tracking all the proceedings in Parliament. She's joining us this evening from Parliament itself. Samia, we thought tomorrow would be a cool day, a quiet day as it were, but with Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary's suspension, it's hardly looking like it's going to be peaceful either for the opposition or for the government.
Well, Shreya, clearly the entire monsoon session has seen a turmoil of sorts in both the House of the Parliament, Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha. The no-confidence motion against the Prime Minister and his Council of Ministers ended today with the Prime Minister making that reply. 12 hours was allotted for the opposition parties to place on record their statements, their speeches, although contrary to the expectation of the opposition party leaders or the India Bloc Alliance members, the Prime Minister wasn't really present for the first 2 days when several of the opposition party leaders from Congress, DMK, TMC made statements. It was only today that the Prime Minister was present, starting with Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary's speech, the speech that ran into a controversy for itself, and then the Prime Minister, along with the Home Minister, walked out of the Lok Sabha. And now, of course, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary is bearing the consequences of what he had mentioned, although he has now been suspended for the moment, since the matter is pending before the committee, Privilege Committee, and the Ethics Committee will also look into it. But what we witnessed today was, it was no-brainer that the opposition party leaders will not have the requisite number. The ideal reason behind which they wanted to bring about the no-confidence motion is for the Prime Minister to be present in the House. The Prime Minister wasn't present either in the Rajya Sabha or in the Lok Sabha, much against the demand of all the opposition party leaders, because the Manipur was the basic fulcrum on which the opposition party leaders came together. Even those who were not part of the India Bloc Alliance, like the BRS, the AIMIM, the BSP, the Akalis, even they walked out after 90 minutes of the Prime Minister's speech, where he had not even mentioned Manipur once. And that is exactly what witnessed, that is exactly what saw the sloganeering in the Lok Sabha, where they kept on chanting the name of Manipur, saying that the Prime Minister should speak on it. They were upset with the manner in which the Women and Child Development Minister Smriti Irani made a statement yesterday without mentioning Manipur. They feel that the government is not serious about according the due empathy to the victims of violence in Manipur, and that is the reason why they felt that, this is only a political speech and they want to walk out of that. Remember, 21 India Alliance MPs during the monsoon session had gone to Manipur to take stock of the situation, and they wanted to speak in the House. Now, of course, that has gotten culminated. We have to wait and see the last day of monsoon session tomorrow, what awaits the opposition parties and the Treasury benches.
All right, it's the last day of the monsoon session. We leave it there for the moment and we'll see how things play out tomorrow. Samia, thank you very much for joining us. Let me quickly introduce my guest to you this evening. Harish Khurana is spokesperson of the BJP. Aadil Singh Boparai is spokesperson of the Congress Party. Tehseen Poonawalla will be joining us in just a bit. And we have Pankaj Bora, who's a senior journalist. Mr. Bora, I'm going to start with you. I'll get in the politicians in just a bit. I just heard Asaduddin Owaisi saying he was disappointed with the Prime Minister's speech. Now, for journalists, you're not expected to be... Hi, Tehseen, I thought you'd be in the studio. Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. Bora, it's not for journalists to be disappointed or elated with the Prime Minister's speech or with the Neta's speech. But I want to ask you what you make of it. This was an incredibly long speech. The expectation was, at least I was expecting, that he'll speak a little more about Manipur. Maybe... maybe there will possibly be an appeal for peace to the Kuki community, to the Meitei community. Maybe there'll be forgiveness sought from the women of Manipur, etc. That is what I had expected. What about you? How do you rate the speech on various parameters?
Well, that was what you were expecting. That is what everyone else was expecting, that the speech would be more focused on Manipur. However, throughout the 3 days when the no confidence motion was discussed, especially the Treasury benches, were feeling, were somehow shy of, raking up Manipur. Even in the Prime Minister's long 2-hour plus speech, the mention about Manipur was, a very, very passing reference. When he talked of Manipur, he kept on talking about the Northeast as such, Northeast in general. And so far as Manipur is concerned, there was nothing specific in his speech, except he did give an assurance that people of Manipur should know that the parliament is with them, and the entire country is with them. And we will try to undo things, and we will try to ensure that Manipur marches ahead. The Prime Minister was, a speech was more of a political speech where he made it into a kind of a, a discourse of setting a narrative where, he would want this to be highlighted before the next year's Lok Sabha elections. And it was a very, very political speech, and the opposition's, move of getting him involved and getting him to the House in the no confidence motion to some extent did boomerang, because he used it as an opportunity to say what he had to say. Most of the Treasury benches also did not, mention anything about Manipur. The finance minister was there highlighting various achievements. Jyotiraditya Scindia was there, who also spoke on things other than Manipur. And both of them are incidentally members of the upper house, but being part of the government, they were defending the government. Congress, there was not a very spirited reply from the Congress either. One would have liked to hear Gaurav Gogoi, wind up and speak after the Prime Minister had spoken. True. But, he was missing in the House, and he allowed the things to slip out by default. And it was expected that BJP had the numbers, the NDA has the numbers, so the outcome of the no confidence motion was known. But what is very different from earlier no confidence speeches is that the Prime Minister did not attend the House for the first 2 days. And even today, he was present and not present, and then he, of course, gave a very long speech and defended his party, his government, and attacked the opposition. But I don't know whether this was sufficient. Okay. There should have been much more focus on Manipur. Yeah.
On Manipur, I agree with you. It's what we had expected, Mr. Vora, that since this no confidence motion, the fulcrum is Manipur. We would hear more about Manipur. We didn't. Aadil Singh Boparai, today the Prime Minister has in fact called the opposition a Kala Tika, saying that you guys have a Vardhan, that I.N.D.I.A has a Vardhan. Whatever you oppose succeeds, and so I will succeed as well. Has the no trust motion, the no confidence motion boomeranged on you? I'm not talking about it being defeated. We all knew it would be defeated. You didn't have the numbers, you knew that too. But did you give the Prime Minister the perfect platform to start his campaign for 2024?
Shreya, India is dismayed. India is dismayed because India expected the Prime Minister to speak about the precarious situation in Manipur. And what we saw was petty name-calling. What we saw was jeering from the Treasury benches. What we saw was amusement, bouts of laughter. Is this what is expected of the government? When the Supreme Court of this country has said that there is a breakdown of law and order, when there is rape, arson, and murder, where there is a divide in Manipur, cutting across right through the center. Is this what is expected from the Prime Minister? The purpose of the no confidence motion, or the objective of the no confidence motion, was to ensure that the government is held accountable to the burning issues of this country. And one such issue is violence. There is an ethnic clash which is going on in the Northeast, which has never been witnessed in the past 75 years of this country. What you saw in Nu in Haryana was again violence. Is this what is expected of the Prime Minister? Let me again reiterate on behalf of the Congress Party that governance is not theatrics. Governance is not drama. Governance requires a vision. Government requires that you must be held accountable and you must deliver on the aspirations of this country. And I am disappointed, and I say this not just as a Congress Party spokesperson, but as a citizen of this country. The Prime Minister is the leader of the House. You expected a certain degree of gravitas from him. You expected a certain degree of seriousness from him. This was not a political pulpit. And please see, has he responded on rising prices of basic essential commodities? Has he responded on unemployment? Has he responded on the Chinese aggression in Ladakh? Has he
but that was not the point.
On rising communalism?
But that was not the point of the no trust motion.
No, please understand.
But that was not the point.
BJP
Here's the thing,
ministers
Adil. That was not the point of this no trust motion. The fulcrum was Manipur. The fulcrum
course the
was
fulcrum
Manipur.
was Manipur.
Harish Khurana,
Of
I'm just
course.
going to get in here. The fulcrum of... Give me a minute here. Let me get the BJP spokesperson. Mr. Khurana, the fulcrum of this no trust motion was Manipur. In his 2-hour, 13-minute, 30 seconds record-breaking speech, how much time did the Prime Minister devote to Manipur and what's going on there? Exactly 3 minutes. Hichak kya hai to speak about Manipur? Is this an ego battle ki nahi, if the opposition is saying Manipur ke baare mein bolo, to main bolunga hi nahi. Because elections to 2023 mein hai na, sir?
24.
Shreya, two things.
2024 में आए 2024 में 1 साल है इलेक्शन के लिए इलेक्शन स्पीचेस तो बहुत होंगी
Shreya, now can I respond? Thank you. Shreya, there are two parts.
Yes, Mr. Khurana,
one is
please go ahead.
Opposition and my fellow spokesperson of Congress. My fellow spokesperson is saying we are very much disappointed with the speech of Prime Minister. But Congress was keen to listen to that statement? I don't think so. They were serious about no confidence motion? I don't think so. The reason I'm telling you that biggest leader of Congress came to Parliament after one and a half day for 40 minutes in the Parliament. He sat there for 40 minutes, gave a speech for 35 minutes and he went away. And today, when the Prime Minister was giving a reply to whole opposition no confidence motion, he came after 1 hour, he sat there for a few minutes and did a walkout. Is he really interested in listening what Prime Minister was saying? I don't think so. In fact, whole opposition was not serious at all. And now, what you're talking about, the fulcrum of there was on Manipur. I'm sorry, ma'am. The fulcrum was for the whole government. No confidence motion means the whole government is into no confidence motion. Now, Amit Shah, the concerned minister, gave a detailed reply for 45 minutes yesterday. Detailed reply. What is happening in Manipur? And today, you are talking about only 5 minutes? I don't think so. It was 30 minutes approximately, which includes whole Northeast and Manipur. When a Prime Minister is appealing to the country that jigar ka tukda hai Manipur, what else are you expecting from the Prime Minister? When... No,
you are expecting. I'll tell you what I was expecting. Harish ji, मैं आपको बताती हूँ. अरे सुन भी लीजिए. Harish ji, don't say 30 minutes Manipur पे बोला. We were counting. This newsroom we were sitting with our timers. 3 minutes बोला. My point is, you're saying what else were you expecting? The Home Minister has spoken. This was the Prime Minister speaking. The whole point of this no confidence motion was to hear the Prime Minister speak. This is what I had expected from him. I had expected him to talk to us a little bit about the situation in Manipur now. I was expecting him to appeal to Cookie brothers. And 1 minute रुक जाए. अरे खुराना जी बहुत time है. अरे सुन तो let me finish my question, then you respond na. Khurana ji, ruk jaiye 1 second. I was expecting him to appeal to the Cookie brothers and to the Methi brothers to say, guys, come, let's sit on a table and talk to each other. Violence is not the way forward. I was expecting him to seek forgiveness from the women of Manipur who have been raped, paraded naked, and in many instances killed as well. That is what I was expecting from the Prime Minister. Haan, theek hai. We are going into an election year. Of course, you expected some politics, some politics in his speech as well. The opposition has done the same. Their political speeches have been, related to elections as well. But this is what I expected of the Prime Minister. Did he deliver on that? No.
Shreya, as I told you before, what the opposition was really interested. If you see the behavior of the opposition, their biggest leader was not in the parliament for only 40 minutes in 3 days. And their leader of opposition was not letting in speech for 2.5 days. This was the seriousness of the opposition party. And again, I'm coming back. The concerned minister of that Manipur has spoken on Manipur yesterday for 45 minutes. And he gave the total detail what has happened. And unfortunately, whatever you say that, the things are coming down. We should not do a politics on this. In fact, Prime Minister also appealed, please don't do a politics on this right now. Things are coming down. Things are controlling now. Please don't do politics. We have ample time of doing politics on this. So Manipur, let the things settle down. It's not a matter of these only for 6, 7 years, 8 years.
Okay.
It's a problem of since independence. We should understand that. This has been cleared by long by concerned minister also, and today Prime Minister also thinks that. But look at the behavior of opposition.
So two fact checks here.
What they really
two fact
serious?
checks here. One for Aadil and one for Mr. Khurana.
Opposition party.
Okay. Okay. I will ask, but there are two fact checks that I want to do here. One for you, Mr. Khurana, and one for Aadil. Aadil, sabse pehle, this is not the first time that we are seeing ethnic violence in Manipur in the last 75 years. It has happened before. And it has happened at least on 3 big occasions when the state has burnt for over 3 to 8 months. So it's happened before. Secondly, Khurana ji, you are saying that the tallest leader of the opposition was not even interested in this debate. The same argument can be made for the Prime Minister as well. He walked in today only, na? He was also missing for 2 days. So, this is hypocrisy. Anyhow, I'll let Tehseen come in. Tehseen Poonawala, Aadil, give me a minute. Let me get in Tehseen. Tehseen Poonawala, would you want to respond to what the BJP spokesperson is saying? Opposition ko interest hi nahi tha. That is why they walked out today. Otherwise, Gaurav Gogoi would have been there after the Prime Minister finished speaking and wrapped up the entire thing. After all, he was the one who initiated this no trust motion.
Good evening, Shreya, and thank you so much for having me on the show. I was hoping I could be in the studio, but I think there was some communication error, just like this government has an error in its governance. Now let's get on to the issues at hand. There are very specific questions asked by Gaurav Gogoi at the opening of the no confidence motion and asked by various political analysts like me with regards to Manipur. Very specific questions. A, if the Chief Minister of Manipur made some, because there was, Rahul Gandhi spoke about putting kerosene in fire. The Chief Minister of Manipur made some pathetic, and I'm using this word responsibility, tweets with regards to what happened in Manipur that added kerosene to fire, and he was made to delete his tweets. Why was action not taken on the Chief Minister of Manipur, who was putting kerosene on fire rather than calming things down? As of yesterday, the Manipur police was filing FIRs on the Indian Army. This is not a matter under the domain of the Honorable Home Minister, but a matter under the domain of the Honorable Prime Minister. Why did the Prime Minister not speak about it? The Honorable Chief Minister of Manipur has gone on record and said weapons have come in from Myanmar and China supplied the weapons. Now, this is a foreign affairs issue, not under the Home Minister, but under the Honorable Prime Minister. The Prime Minister chose not to address anything specifically. What the Prime Minister unfortunately indulged in was whataboutery, was a political election speech. And the Prime Minister may be a great orator, but unfortunately today, even his speech lacked substance, lacked depth. The Prime Minister could not answer that why, when these ethnic clashes started in the last week of April and first week of May, was the Honorable Prime Minister and the Honorable Home Minister campaigning in Karnataka. He could not answer a specific question. Why on May 3rd, when the Indian Army, which is the Assam Rifles, reached Manipur, the Manipur police not allowed them to go in, thereby allowing those women to be paraded naked. He could not answer why the Chief Minister of Manipur had to come on national TV and said, we shut off the internet because it's not 2 women who are paraded naked, but several hundred women who are paraded naked, and we didn't want India and the world to find out. We did not want the world to find out how many women were paraded naked. The Honorable Prime Minister or the Honorable Home Minister could not answer that when the Honorable Home Minister went to Manipur finally on 29th May, the incident that we're talking about, the women being paraded naked, happened on 4th May. Why did the Honorable Home Minister not take charge and have the FIR registered? They were only registered in June. Why did the Honorable Prime Minister only speak after the Supreme Court intervened suo voto? The Prime Minister gave us no answers. Look, here's the problem, Shreya. The Prime Minister is the leader of the country. I don't vote for the BJP. I don't support the BJP. But he didn't heal us, right? He didn't speak on how to heal wounds. He indulged in whataboutery from Nehru to Indira ji to Rajiv ji to Nehru ji to Manmohan Singh ji. Fine, all of them were bad. Therefore, the country rejected them. Today, you are Prime Minister. What did you do? How did you heal wounds? The Prime Minister spoke nothing of that sort. The least I expected my Prime Minister to do was to reach out to those women who were paraded naked. One of them, a Kargil hero's wife, and apologize on behalf of the Parliament. Not on behalf of the Prime Minister personally, on behalf of the Parliament, on behalf of all of us, that we let them down. The Manipur police handed them over to the mobs. The least our Prime Minister could have done was do that. He refused to do that. He did not show even that much sensitivity. I think that's what hurt me.
Ma'am, itni der, ma'am.
Mr. Khurana, was that too much to ask?
Is the election
was
speech
that
we are
too much
listening
to
in right
ask?
now?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, it is. When he's talking a lot about Manipur, when he's talking a lot about Manipur, because there is an ethnic violence coming over there, some few incidents have happened. Will you forget about Rajasthan? Why is not speaking a word on Rajasthan? Why is not speaking a word on West Bengal? Why? Because मणिपुर में एथनिक इंसिडेंट्स हुए हैं, इसलिए विल नॉट टॉक अबाउट राजस्थान एंड वेस्ट बंगाल. Incidence is bad over there also. Incidence is bad over in Rajasthan and West Bengal also. Please condemn that also. आपके मुंह में दही जम जाता था बॉस, आपके मुंह में ताले लग जाते हैं जब अपने स्टेट की बारी आती है. I'm sorry to
नहीं हरीश जी.
I'm sorry to see.
May I reply? May I give the right to reply?
Listen me, I have not interfered. Tehseen, let me
प्लीज बोलिए, आपके बात बोल जी, कोई बात नहीं. प्लीज आप प्लीज बोलिए.
Let me complete. I have not completed yet.
जी
I have not completed yet, boss.
जी प्लीज बोलिए.
My only point is, Prime Minister is taking things control. He's also asked that jigar ka tukda hai. And the things, actual fact is, Manipur is, things are coming down. The whatever incidents are happening, it has come down a lot. So things are getting controlled. We are not like Indira Gandhi's government, where we have a bombardment by air. We are not doing anything on that sort. We will not do any of that sort. Things are under control. It's getting controlled now. Please be calm. Please do politics on this. We have also urged all the opposition.
Harishji, what is the logic?
Can I please answer, Harishji? Can I please answer,
Let the things calm down. उसके बाद बहुत time है.
Can I please answer, Harishji?
What is the logic, Harishji? If the Congress had done something galat, then that justifies even the BJP doing galat. Arey bhaiya, this country overwhelmingly has voted for the BJP. I have voted for the BJP as well.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that, Shreya. I'm not saying
that is exactly what you're saying.
I'm trying to say that
कि अगर राजस्थान में हो रहा है और वेस्ट बंगाल में हो रहा है, so that justifies जो मणिपुर में हो रहा है. Essentially, that is the star of the argument.
Shreya, hear me out. मैं आपके ग्रिलिंग में नहीं आऊंगा. Hear me out. What I have said, and saying it clearly. कि when some incidents that happened in Manipur, which should not be there. If you are politicizing that issue, please speak a word on Rajasthan and West Bengal also. The same thing has happened over there, where a naked woman has been done over there also. Please, मेरा ये कहना है कि अगर राजनीति करनी है, इसमें भी जवाब दीजिए.
Okay. Tehseen wants to respond, then I'll get an Aadil. Okay, Tehseen wants to respond, then I'll get an Aadil. Tehseen, go ahead.
I think both in Rajasthan and West Bengal, I think across the country, atrocities on women are going up, including in Congress ruled states, no doubt about it. But is Rajasthan or West Bengal suffering more internet shutdown than Ukraine? Is Rajasthan Chief Minister coming on national TV and saying we shut the internet because we didn't want to know, the world to know, and India to know, hundreds of women were paraded naked? Is in Rajasthan the government complicit in that? Was the tweets of the Chief Minister of Rajasthan deleted by the PMO? What kind of tweets were done? Is weapons coming in from Myanmar and China into Rajasthan? Is Rajasthan today a state where you cannot say sanitary napkins to women? And I tried to send them in Manipur. It could only go to the border of Assam. Was for the longest time Rajasthan cut off from the rest of the Union of India? Was the highways, national highways in Rajasthan being patrolled by two separate ethnic groups and not by the Indian Army or the Manipur police or the Rajasthan police? You cannot compare the two situations. Who's saying that violence against women is good in Rajasthan? Has anyone justified it? But the justification for the women being paraded nude was done by none other than the Manipur Chief Minister, who came on TV and said we shut internet because hundreds of women have been paraded nude. Harish ji, I am saying if this was the case, respected Amit Shah ji should have spoke about hundreds of women being paraded nude in Rajasthan. He should take action on it. Why is action not taken? We are asking specific questions. You all are indulging what about you? All I'm asking my Prime Minister to do is apologize to a war veteran's wife. Is that too much to ask my Prime Minister to do on behalf of the Parliament of India? He represents us. Why can't more sensitivity be shown by the Parliament?
Okay, Aadil, why could more sensitivity not been shown by Adil Ranjan Chaudhary on the floor of the House today? Was it? एक मिनट, अरे हरीश जी रुक जाइए, आप अधीर रंजन के भी तो बारे में बात करने दीजिए ना. He's been suspended today. Adil, please tell me what justifies the statement he made on the floor of the House today, comparing Prime Minister Modi with Nirav Modi. Completely uncalled for. And you gave the government the perfect deflection point.
I'll just respond to your question. The BJP today is intoxicated with arrogance. This is the problem. And history has several examples that their arrogance will be their undoing. They have lost all canons of propriety and conscience. Just to respond to my friend from the Bharatiya Janata Party, there is a fundamental distinction between the unfortunate cases in Rajasthan and Manipur. And please hear this very carefully. In Rajasthan, the police swiftly moved into action. The accused persons were arrested within 24 hours. Whereas in Manipur, you saw the local administration and the government of India in a state of lethargy and slumber for 77 days. The FIR was registered after 18 days.
Aadil,
and ultimately, the first arrest was
Aadil,
made.
we know that. I'm
after
asking you a
those
question
videos.
about Adhir.
I will come to that. I have to respond to what
I'm
he said
asking you a
first.
question about Mr. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary.
Chairji, please let
What
me
he
respond
said
to what
was
he has said.
completely uncalled for. If you don't respect the man, at least respect the chair.
Does the Prime Minister respect the chair? Does the Prime Minister respect opposition leaders? Does the BJP respect the Parliament? They've reduced the Parliament of India to a notice board. Respect is always a two-way street. It can't be a one-way street. The BJP may be in a majority today, but nobody stays in power forever. Mr. Khurana should know this. This arrogance of theirs knows no bounds today. They've become so intoxicated with arrogance that they believe they can ride roughshod over every institution in this country. That they can engineer conflagrations. That they can mislead and deflect responsibility from their core issues. So therefore, I would urge the Bharatiya Janata Party, the people of this country are watching. The people of this country are watching how the BJP is leading this country into chaos. How the BJP is driving this country and breaking down every ideal on which our republic stands. This is the core issue. And to therefore compare Manipur with any other state is an incorrect and a specious comparison. In Manipur, there is state anarchy. The Chief Justice of India said that the law and order is broken down. I do not recall any other state where armories were looted. Please, my friend from the BJP can give me an example where the last time state armories, police armories were looted, where the state police is lodging FIRs against a central police force. This is the state of apathy in Manipur.
Okay, Aadil, I think you've made your point. I think you've made your point. What essentially you are saying is that a comparison between Manipur and West Bengal and Rajasthan essentially amounts to whataboutery and nothing else. Pankaj Vora, I have exactly a minute left on the show and I want you to wrap up this chat. I want to ask you how this no trust motion... Acha, Khurana ji, only 10 seconds, huh? Only 10 seconds. Go ahead.
Yeah. My friend is talking about arrogance. जिसका कांग्रेस का प्रधानमंत्री ये कहता हो आफ्टर 3000 odd deaths in Delhi कि एक पेड़ गिरता है तो धरती हिलती है. The arrogance was this. This was the arrogance you're talking about. और आप मुझे हमें कह रहे हैं arrogance है. You're talking BJP arrogant. अपना शीशा देखिए, my dear friend. Your Prime Minister said this thing. I'm sorry to say that.
But how is it not arrogance if you refuse to sack a chief minister who has failed in his duty, who's a general in retreat, under whose watch a state has burned for 3 months, under whose watch 160, 70 people have died, under whose watch women have been stripped, paraded naked, gang raped and killed. He's cooperating. How's that a jawab? Mr. Khurana, the Home Minister said we are not sacking the Chief Minister of Manipur because he's cooperating. Yeah, he said that is not a jawab. That is not a jawab at all. How is someone cooperating a ground for not sacking him?
What we are appealing to the whole country today.
Okay, give me a minute.
We are appealing to the whole country today that please, for a few days. Okay.
ठीक है, I understand. यहाँ पे एक भड़काऊ काम हम लोग नहीं करते हैं यहाँ मेरे नाव पे. We want peace in Manipur. We want the cookies and the mehtis to come to the talk table and speak to each other, because honestly a state cannot continue to burn for three months because everyone loses out. Children lose out, women lose out, the elderly lose out, people who are working lose out. Everyone loses out in the situation that we are seeing in Manipur right now. But Mr. Vora, I now have exactly 40 seconds. I want to ask you how you are seeing this no trust vote play out in the 2024 elections, both for the opposition and for the government.
Well, there's nothing new so far as the government or Treasury benches were concerned. There's nothing new which they said. They've said what they have been saying. It was a repeat of speeches made by the Prime Minister at various rallies, at various functions. So the only point which he tried to raise was, Congress neglecting the Northeast. But there also, when he talks of there was Air Force was used on 5th March 1966 when Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister. There can be factual inaccuracies because Indira Gandhi took over from as Prime Minister only on 24th or 25th of January 1966. One doesn't know. When he talks of Mr. Nehru, making that speech during 1962, Mr. Vajpayee, who later became the Prime Minister, was a leading leader of the Bharatiya Janasangh. What did he have to say on that? I mean, all these things were redundant right now. The focus should have been on what is happening in Manipur now. BJP's, effort, of course, was to corner the opposition and, lambast it as much as it could. But in the perception battle, I don't think, BJP has scored very highly because people are still, waiting for answers as to what is the government doing so far as Manipur is concerned.
Okay.
And Manipur continues to be a big burning issue, which is a matter of great concern.
All right. We'll leave it there for the moment, gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us. Pankaj Vora, thank you very much. Tehseen, good to have you on the show. Adil, thanks very much. Harish Khurana ji, thank you very much for joining us as well. I'm slipping into a quick break on the show, but on the other side, a very important story that is developing today. We'll make it to the headlines in tomorrow's newspapers as well. That is something we are looking at. Do stay with us.